Welcome to CSR's IS. So today in this new series, we'll be starting a daily current affairs series where I'll be covering some important current affairs which are very relevant for UPSC prelims and mains. And plus with those topics, I'll be also covering the forward and backward linkages related to that particular topic. So today, the most important news was of the Supreme Court when it upheld the demonetization, where it found no flaw in the center's decision making process. Similarly, we'll also go through the GAGANYAAN process, smart initiative to boost Ayurveda, the first external affairs ministers level meet between India and Australia in the last 27 years. So in this topic, when we come to know about the first meeting between two countries in the last 27 years, so here we'll cover the border of Austria, which will be important for mapping. Similarly, G20, Digital Innovation Alliance, and all those related to that particular topic, Stay Safe online campaign, and finally, the birth anniversary of Mannathu Padmanabha Pillai. So, he was an important part of the Vayakam Satyagraha also. He was an important part of Guruvayur Temple Satyagraha. So, we'll be covering this personality also. Now, coming to the first part, Supreme Court upholds demonetization. We all know demonetization happened in 2016. Now, first of all, we need to see this topic very technically from a prelims point of view. How? First of all, the Supreme Court said the power under Section 26 of the RBI Act can be used to demonetize banknotes. It means, as per the Supreme Court, there is an act. We all know there is an act of RBI Act of 1934. It said that there is a Section 26 of the RBI Act which gives power and it can be used by the central government to monetize banknotes. Fine. So first of all, we'll cover the Section 26 of the RBI Act. Now this is the Section 26 of the original RBI Act. Now what does this act says? See, the section of this act reads, it starts from here. On recommendation of the central board, that is central board of RBI, which consists of 21 members. This is a separate topic by itself. So on recommendation of the central board, the central government may, by notification in the Gazette of India, declare that with effect from such date as may be specified in the notification, any series of notes of any denomination shall cease to be a legal tender, save at such office or agency of the bank, and to such extent as may be specified in the notification. Now see here, it gives power to the central government, fine. But if you see, there is also a word called recommendation of the central board. But the Supreme Court is saying the power under this particular act can be used. Fine. Now it was upheld by a 5-judge constitution bench of the Supreme Court. Now, when you read something called constitution bench, you should also know about what is a constitution bench and what is the constitutional provision of a constitution bench. Now the constitutional provision of constitution bench is Article 145 clause 3. Now what it says? Now this clause says the minimum number of judges for a constitutional number of judges should be 5. It is the minimum. For what kind of cases? One is for interpretation of the constitution or any fact, or for all cases under Article 143. Now what 143 says? It is the president seeking any kind of help from the Supreme Court regarding any interpretation of the constitution or any law. Fine. Now this is the static part required for this constitution bench. Fine. Now we'll come to the topic. So here the Supreme Court said the RBI Act of Section 26 can be used. Fine. Now the petitioners, that is the opponents who lost the case, the contention was raised by them. It was that the procedure prescribed under Section 26 is breached. They said the procedure was breached. Why? Because they said the same point. They said it was on the recommendation of the Supreme of the Central Board of RBI is required. So they said the proposal has emanated from the central government, whereas the requirement of that the proposal should have been emanated from the central board. So they put this point. Now this point you can put when you write in a mains the critical analysis, whether this thing was correct or wrong. You give a legal point of view. So here you give a legal point of view in your mains answer. GS 3. Fine. But the majority judgment absorbed that two requirements of subsection 2 of section 26 are a recommendation by central board and the decision by the central government. Ultimately it is the decision of the central government. Now one more point we also need to know here, the majority judgment also pointed out one more point, that is entry 36 of list 1 of the 7th schedule. This is also a pro point you can write. Yes, the central government has a power, it can do. So this point also you can. So here you are putting out legal points and also constitutional points in your mains answer. Now the judge agreed with the submission of the Attorney General, because Attorney General is he's fighting from the government point of view because he is the legal advocate. So he said the central government cannot be said to be without powers in initiating demonetization. The Attorney General said from the government point of view, अगर मैं हिंदी में बोलूँ तो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट के पास भी पावर है. आप ऐसे नहीं बोल सकते कि सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट के पास पावर नहीं है. कैसे? ये एंट्री 36 ऑफ लिस्ट 1 पे लिखा है, ये क्लियर कट लिखा है. द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट इज नॉट जस्ट कंसर्न विद द फाइनेंशियल हेल्थ ऑफ द कंट्री as well as its economy, but it is also concerned with the sovereignty and integrity of India, the security of state, the defense of the country, its friendly relations with foreign countries, internal and external security, and other aspects of governance. तो ये बोलने की कोशिश कर रहा है कि जो 7th शेड्यूल में है कि सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट फाइनेंशियल हेल्थ के साथ भी है, प्लस ये सब चीज़ के साथ भी द गवर्नमेंट हैज़ टू टेक केयर ऑफ दैट और इट्स कंसर्न अबाउट दिस. But on the other hand, the RBI or the bank is only concerned with the regulation of currency notes, monetary policy framework, maintaining price stability and allied matters. Therefore, if the central government is of the considered opinion that in order to meet certain objectives, such as the ones stated in the impugned notification, namely to eradicate black money, fake currency, terror funding, etc., it is necessary to demonetize the currency notes in circulation, then the government may initiate a proposal. Now 7th schedule is clear cut saying अगर सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट को लगेगा कि हाँ टू एराडिकेट ब्लैक मनी बिकॉज फेक करेंसी टेरर फंडिंग दीज आर ऑल रिलेटेड टू द सोवरेंटी एंड इंटीग्रिटी एंड सिक्योरिटी ऑफ इंडिया, तो अगर उसके साथ कोई रिलेशन है तो गवर्नमेंट अपने नोटिफिकेशन में प्रपोजल इनिशिएट कर सकता है फॉर डीमोनेटाइजेशन. सो दिस पॉइंट इज प्रूविंग कि सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट हैज़ constitutional authority to initiate. You can't say it was not constitutional. It was constitutional. So that is the reason why we have points, because in RBI Act 34 also the decision is of the central government, plus in constitutional aspect also in the 7th schedule it is clear cut mentioned. So this is how you have to give the analysis in a mains answer. Now coming to some facts. So the first demonetization took place in 1946, the second demonetization took place in 1978, and the third took place in 2016. Okay, so basically this is the information from prelims point of view and mains point of view. Okay, now coming to the next topic. The current affair here is country's largest city forest coming up in the temple city of Vrindavanam. Now in Vrindavan and the country's largest city forest is coming. So here lot of miscellaneous topics you have to cover from this one topic. See, when city forest word comes, so the concept of urban forests come. Now this urban forest you can take it as a normal current affairs, or you can use it in environment. So these current affairs can be linked to environment topic. Similarly, Vrindavan, now the city of Vrindavan you need to know about the historical significance, because it is connected to Ballavacharya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. These are all like we study in our medieval in our static medieval. So again it becomes a history connection here also. So from environment point of view, from history point of view, you need to know. And plus Vallabhacharya static and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu static, you need to know from your static notes. Now the associated or related topics required here is, now because we are talking about urban forest, we also need to know some international organizations or any kind of conventions or any kind of forum related to it, because questions are asked. Here we have World Forum on Urban Forest. Now recently on it, now this is an international convention news, or it is also in news. Now we also have a domestic scheme regarding urban forest, that is Nagar Van scheme. Now recently there was also another current affairs where the UP government started the Mathura Vrindavanam carbon neutral target 4041. It is the first one of a kind initiative by a state government. So all these things you need to know from only one current affair. Now this is how you have to cover current affairs. Simply covering ki city forest came in Vrindavanam will not help you, at least when at least UPSC, as much as UPSC is concerned, in particular to prelim. So you have to do a very forward and backward linkages. That is the reason why this series will focus more on that. Okay, fine. Next, now coming to the concept of urban forest. So we'll cover this one by one. We'll cover this concept of urban forest. Now urban forest is the art, science, technology of managing trees and forest resources in and around urban community ecosystems for sociological, economic, aesthetic benefits, or all these benefits. It is basically planting trees in urban communities, in urban areas, to be very specific. Now the world is fast becoming an urban place, and almost two-thirds of the world's population is expected to exist in urban areas by 2025. Cities occupy less than 3% of the global terrestrial surface but account for 78% of the carbon emissions. So it's a very big thing. 78% of the carbon emissions are coming from cities. So it is very important we need to plant forest or plant trees there. 60% of the residential water use, 76% of the wood used for industrial purposes are all coming from urban areas. Okay. Now this is the urban area forest concept we studied. Now we also need to know some fact. If you need to know some fact, now from the government figures, the per capita urban green spaces is found to be highest in Gandhinagar, in Indian cities. If you see here, Gandhinagar, per capita urban green spaces, it is highest in Gandhinagar. So this fact also can be asked in prelims. Now the thing is how to know this fact. So it is basically the art of studying from internet. Now how you cover internet? For that you need to know the topics involved. You need to know the topics involved, and you need to do that in self study. You need to add those topics. I'm talking for those who are doing self study, because I'll try my best to cover most of the part in this series. But if anyone is doing self study, he or she can also cover it on its own. But the thing is, you need to know how to take those information from the internet, because one particular site will not cover everything. Okay, fine. Now coming to the city of Vrindavan. Now the city of Vrindavan is a historical city in Mathura district, UP. It is a significant part of the Krishna pilgrimage circuit. Now you have to cover the pilgrimage circuits. This is another topic. You have to cover this pilgrimage circuits. Okay. Now, which includes Mathura, Varsana, Gokul, Govardhan, Kurukshetra, Dwarka, Puri. These are all pilgrimage circuits. Now it is located in the Brajbhumi region and holds religious importance in Hinduism, as Krishna spent most of his childhood days in this city. Basically the Vaishnavism aspect of Hinduism. Now which river flows through the city? It is the Yamuna river which flows through this particular city. Okay. Now from medieval point of view, you need to know the historical background. Okay. Now historical background, now this particular city was established in 16th and 17th century as a result of an explicit treaty. एक particular treaty हुआ था between the Muslims and the Hindu emperors तब 16th 17th century में, and is an important Hindu पिलग्रिमेज साइट सिंस लॉन्ग, तब से ये एक पिलग्रिमेज साइट है. Now, two very famous personality of medieval history have visited this place. Vallabhacharya. Vallabhacharya was only 11 when he visited this place. Later on, he performed 3 pilgrimages of India barefoot, giving discourses on Bhagavad Gita at 84 places. Now, these 84 places are known as Pushti Marg Baithak. Now, this Pushti Marg philosophy, when you read medieval history, will come to know. You'll read about this Pushti Marg philosophy or the Pushti Marg school. It has been propounded by Vallabhacharya. Now, this Pushti Marg Baithak is nothing but those 84 places where he gave discourses. And since then are the places of pilgrimage. He stayed in Vrindavan for 4 months each year. Vrindavan thus heavily influenced his formation of Pushti Marg philosophy or Pushti Marg school. Okay? Fine. Now you have to cover Vallabhacharya, his philosophy or his Advaita philosophy and everything you need to cover from your static, because everything can't be covered here. It's not possible to cover here, but I'll give you the topics, you can cover it. So the philosophy of Vallabhacharya you have to cover, plus in particular the Pushti Marg. Okay, now the essence of Vrindavan was lost over time until 16th century. थोड़ा बहुत उसका एसेंस कम हो गया बिकॉज वल्लभाचार्य वॉज इनटू 10th 11th सेंचुरी के आसपास का टाइम है. फिर फाइनली 1515 में जब भक्ति मूवमेंट शुरू हो गया था, भक्ति मूवमेंट इज ऑलरेडी देयर बिफोर दैट ऑल्सो. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited this place with the purpose of locating the lost holy places associated with Krishna's life. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also a important part because mains का question 2018 mains में आ चुका है, mains का direct question आ चुका है. It is also important for prelims, it is also important for mains. So here when you are studying about this, you should also cover the topic is Bhakti movement. The origin of Bhakti movement happened in South India around 7th century AD, 7th, 8th century AD. Then it moved to North India and the Maharashtra was the first state other than the South India where Bhakti movement first entered. Now all this information you have to cover. Okay, fine. Next. Now because we are studying about urban forest, so as discussed, we will also cover the World Forum on Urban Forest. Now this is basically a IR convention topic. Now nowadays convention questions are asked in prelims as a part of IR, or you can say international related environment issues. Now World Forum on Urban Forest. First of all, you need to know, till now there are only two meetings done of this particular forum. First World Forum on Urban Forest, that is Italy 2018, and the second one will happen this year 2023. It will be in current affairs when the time comes, October 2023, this year in October. After some months it will be happening. So first happened in Mantova, second will happen in Washington DC. Now what it does, see from the word we know it is a forum. A forum means nothing but an event. It is not an international organization or something like that. Simple an event. So it's a platform or event. It is an informal platform jointly developed by, you need to know only one name, that is FAO, and these names are not required because these are local names of that particular country. No need to remember. Just remember it is jointly developed by FAO and some other kind of NGOs or some normal government agencies of foreign countries. So simply we know what it does. Obviously it will talk on urban forest and protecting urban forest and developing more urban forest. Simple. So it aims at consolidating, promoting and implementing the outcomes of the first edition of the forum, including a call for action and the Trees Cities of the World program, and support cities worldwide move towards greener and more sustainable and resilient mode of urban development. Now here Trees Cities of World program was in news. Now can anyone tell me, now do you know the only city from India which was recognized as a 2020 tree city of the world? Now if you know, please you can write the name in your comment box, in the comment box. चलो बता ही देता हूँ. So it was Hyderabad. Hyderabad is the only city in 2020 which was recognized as the 2020 Tree City of the World. And this Tree City of the World, it is a part of the Tree Cities of the World program. Now if I ask one more question कि ये जो Tree Cities of the World program है, ये कहाँ से आया है, ये program कहाँ से आया है? Can anyone tell me? If you know, please write it down in the comment box. चलो ये भी बता देता हूँ. The Tree Cities of the World program, this program has come from this first World Forum on Urban Forest held in 2018. 2020 में हैदराबाद को ये recognition मिला था. Now this program came in World First Forum. Now this first forum also developed by FAO. So you have to remember FAO, this program, when it came. Simple. Okay. Now I'll give you some topics to do self-study. Why? Because everything can't be covered here, but I'll give you the topic, the relevant topic. It will be very easy because once you get the topic, you can very easily know it. Now, if you see carefully, World Forum on Urban Forest. Similarly, another forum is also there, which we cover in our environment topic. That is United Forum on Forest. Now, if some current affair comes, I'll be covering this also. But till that time, you can cover on your own. UN Forum on Forest, you can cover this. Similarly, I just mentioned about Tree Cities program. Now also cover another report which came in 2021, that is Global Forest Goals report. Now this report is published by whom? You can write it down in the comment box. Now the fourth is the very normal scheme, not that much important, but it is very easy scheme nowadays by Ministry of Environment. It's a very normal scheme of this urban forest only, Nagarwan scheme. Okay. So this is how you have to cover this particular topic. Now coming to the next topic of this day, that is smart program to boost Ayurveda. Now there is a program to boost Ayurveda. Now when Ayurveda word comes, so obviously it will be Ministry of Ayush. Very simple. It will be Ministry of Ayush. It's a very recent ministry from maybe 2014. If I remember it, it's 2014. Fine. Now, this program is for Ayurveda professionals to boost the research and development in Ayurveda in our country, to boost this Ayurveda thing. So, Minister of Ayush aims to open new avenues with smart initiative for quality research in Ayurveda. Now, what has happened is the National Commission for Indian System of Medicine and the Central Research Council for Research in Ayurvedic Sciences, the two prominent institutions under Ministry of Ayush, they're regulating medical education and conducting scientific research. Now they have launched this SMART program, that is Scope for mainstreaming Ayurveda research in teaching professionals. Okay. Now here you need to know, one is this program. Okay, fine, done. Now, what are the things you need to know from this current affairs? You need to know about Ayurveda. First of all, you need to know the origin of Ayurveda, and you have to connect it with our ancient history. Second, you need to know, this is not much important, but this is important. You will come to know why. National Commission for Indian System of Medicine. It is very important. Why? Because it is a statutory body. If it is a statutory body, then there has to be act. So National Commission for Indian System of Medicine Act of 2021, last year, very relevant for current affairs. So you need to know that this commission came from this act which was in news, and it replaced the 1971 old act. Now we will cover all these things here because these are important things from this particular current affairs. Okay. Fine. Now, first of all, we'll cover what is Ayurveda and what are the origin and the historical significance of Ayurveda. Now, Ayurveda एक मेडिसिन सिस्टम है, इट्स ऑल्टरनेटिव मेडिसिन सिस्टम है, जिसका जो हिस्टोरिकल रूट्स है वो इंडियन सब कॉन्टिनेंट से है. इट इज़ बेस्ड ऑन द आइडिया दैट डिजीज इज कॉज्ड बाय एन इम्बैलेंस और स्ट्रेस इन द पर्सन्स कॉन्शियसनेस. इसी आइडिया पे ही आयुर्वेद बना है. It's heavily practiced in India, in Nepal, where 80% of the population report using it. So basically it embraces all human beings, even human and non-human. It is divided into three main branches: Nara Ayurveda, Sattva Ayurveda, Vriksha Ayurveda, वर्ड से ही पता चल जाता है कि किसका है. ह्यूमन लाइफ के साथ दिस वन. Sattva means animal life and diseases. Briksha means plant. It is not only a system of medicine, but it's also a way of life for complete positive health and spiritual attainments. Fine. Okay. So these are very basic points. Mostly it's not that much required, but the important part is here. This is the important part for Ayurveda because here you will get to connect with our ancient static history. Okay. So the origin of Ayurveda dates back to the Vedic era. It dates back to the Vedic era. Now, why? Because most material relating to the health and diseases are available in Atharva Veda. In Atharva Veda, a lot of things related to this, like you will find it, are available. Historians claim that Ayurveda is a part of Atharva Veda. Okay. However, Rig Veda, which is the earliest Veda, also mentions about diseases and medicinal plants. So Rig Veda also mentions about it. Now, obviously it is in Rig Veda and all those Vedas are like it was not in a codified manner. So the earliest codified document on Ayurveda is the Charak Samhita. This also we cover. It's a part of our ancient history. Sushruta Samhita also is another codified document. So all these things are important and we study in our ancient history. Even one more important point is Chinese pilgrim Fa Hien, which is a very common famous Chinese. No, it's not common, it's famous Chinese pilgrim. He also wrote about the healthcare system of the Gupta because during the Gupta period he came to India, he visited India, and he also described the institutional approach of Indian medicine. So these are the historical or ancient thing which you have to connect it with Ayurveda. Now, some initiatives for the development of Ayurveda, I've just mentioned National Ayush Mission. You can cover from Earthpedia or Vikaspedia, Ahar Kranti Mission, Ayush Sanjeevani app, or else what I'll suggest is you can go to the Ministry of Ayush. You will not get many much information, but still then some relevant information you'll get. Year-end review. And you can check the schemes. You can check the schemes, important schemes, and you can make a note of it. Okay, next. Now, because two terms are important for the news, so here one is Ayurveda, second is the National Commission for the Indian System of Medicine. Now, this commission is first of all, it's a statutory body. Now, if it is a statutory body, from which law it came? Because a statutory body means it has to be established through a law. Now, the law name is National Commission for Indian System of Medicine Act of 2021, very recent. Now, this commission is made up of 29 members. Everything is mentioned in the act, appointed by the central government. Now, what it will do? It will govern the board of Ayurveda and Unani and the board of Unani, Siddha and Sovarikpa. All these things. Now, Ayurveda we covered here. You also have to cover Unani, Siddha and Sovarikpa. These are the connected topics which you have to cover. Now, the thing is, we covered Ayurveda. Similarly, you have to cover Unani, Siddha and Sovarikpa. So, in a separate video, if I get time, I'll cover all these things in detail. But still then, you have to cover it on your own also. Okay? Fine. Now, this commission will govern everything related to Ayurveda. Like any medical practitioner who is doing something related to Ayurveda. So, all those things will be regulated by this particular commission. Now, what is the background? Now, background यहाँ पे ये है कि 1971 में एक सेंट्रल काउंसिल ऑफ इंडियन मेडिसिन हुआ था, सेटअप हुआ था अंडर इंडियन मेडिसिन सेंट्रल काउंसिल एक्ट. तब ये सेंट्रल काउंसिल ऑफ इंडियन मेडिसिन था. नाउ एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम ओनली दिस सेंट्रल काउंसिल रिकॉग्नाइज्ड आयुर्वेदा. इट रिकॉग्नाइज्ड आयुर्वेदा एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम. नाउ ये क्यों हुआ था? अंडर 1970 एक्ट टू मॉनिटर द हायर एजुकेशन इन इंडियन सिस्टम ऑफ मेडिसिन, आयुर्वेदा, सिद्धा, उनानी, सोवारिकपा. अब ये जो नया एक्ट है 2021 का, इट इज़ टोटली रिप्लेसिंग द 1970 एक्ट. सिंपल, वेरी सिंपल. सो ये एक्ट अभी है नहीं 1970 एक्ट. टोटली इट इज़ रिप्लेस्ड बाय द न्यू एक्ट बिकॉज 1970 काफ़ी ओल्ड एक्ट था, तो अभी पूरा न्यू एक्ट हो गया है. ओके, फाइन. Now, very normal topic, very common topic. It was in news since 2 to 3 years. अभी 2024 में लॉन्च होगा गगनयान. इट इज़ द फर्स्ट ह्यूमन स्पेस फ्लाइट प्रोग्राम. एंड 2022 में होने वाला था, बट बिकॉज ऑफ कोविड-19 it's delayed. Because of COVID-19 it is delayed. 2024 में होगा. So in the next year there will be 2 preliminary launchings. The first launch will be unmanned. This experiment will be done to mark the routes, because if the Gagan-1 rocket goes into space, then it should also return safely in the same way. We should know the route because it should return safely. Because 3 लोग भी जाएंगे, 3 people will go, it should return. और वहाँ पे जाके रह तो नहीं सकते, वापस आना पड़ेगा. ओके. Now he further added that in other experiment also there will be no human, instead a robot will be there as human replica. robot भी जाएगा. Humans will be sent to the space in the third experiment. तो humans कब जाएंगे? जो ये 3 humans है, they will go into the third experiment. Okay. फर्स्ट एक्सपेरिमेंट में गगनयान रॉकेट जाएगा. दिस इज द नंबर 1. नंबर 2 में रोबोट जाएगा. थर्ड एक्सपेरिमेंट में ह्यूमन जाएंगे. ओके. ओके. नाउ ये तभी जाएंगे ओनली व्हेन द फर्स्ट 2 एक्सपेरिमेंट्स अश्योर दैट द प्रोग्राम इज कंप्लीटली रेडी. ठीक है. तो ये 3 लोग जाएंगे इनटू ए 400 किलोमीटर ऑर्बिट फॉर ए 3-day मिशन. 3-day मिशन है और सेफली रिटर्न करेंगे बाय लैंडिंग इन इंडियन सी वाटर. मोस्टली इन अरेबियन सी में लैंड करने का, लेकिन क्लियर नहीं है अभी. द प्राइमरी मैंडेट, और ये जो पूरा जो इसरो का ये जो प्रोजेक्ट है गगनयान का, ये दिया गया है HSFC, दैट इज ह्यूमन स्पेस फ्लाइट सेंटर. और इसका जो हेडक्वार्टर है, इसका हेडक्वार्टर बेंगलुरु में है. ओके. और ये काम करता है इसरो के अंडर. एंड इसरो किसके अंडर काम करता है? इसरो कोई भी मिनिस्ट्री के अंडर काम नहीं करता. इसरो डायरेक्टली वर्क्स अंडर PMO, प्राइम मिनिस्टर्स ऑफिस. इसरो हो गया या फिर डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ एटॉमिक एनर्जी हो गया, दीज ऑल डायरेक्टली वर्क अंडर PMO. इवन रॉ हो गया, जो एक्सटर्नल इंटेलिजेंस, दे ऑल वर्क अंडर PMO. बट IB इंटेलिजेंस ब्यूरो जो है, इट वर्क्स अंडर मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ होम अफेयर्स. सो IB लोग जो होते हैं, दे विल रिपोर्ट टू मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ होम अफेयर्स. ओके. फाइन. सो यहाँ पे कुछ खास इन्फॉर्मेशन नहीं है. दिस मच इज एनफ. ट्रेनिंग होगा, क्रू मेंबर्स का ट्रेनिंग होगा. ये भी बेंगलुरु में होगा. एक फैसिलिटी है जिसका नाम है एस्ट्रोनॉट ट्रेनिंग फैसिलिटी. फाइन. ओके. So moving on to the next topic. The first external affairs minister level meet हुआ है between India and Austria in the last 27 years. अब इसमें कुछ खास information तो नहीं है, but we have these kind of questions. We have to cover the border countries of Austria. अब आप ध्यान से देखोगे, here nothing important news. Jaishankar addresses Indian diaspora in Austria, calls India's G20 presidency very big deal. Now G20 न्यूज़ में है, पिछले दिन भी बहुत सारे न्यूज़ में था. So mostly students must have covered this. You have to cover each and every information of G20 because last year prelims में G20 का एक framework question आया था. Okay. Now because ये चीज़ visit like the minister visited to Vienna, which is the capital of Austria. So here what I thought is, let us cover the border कंट्रीज ऑफ ऑस्ट्रिया. तो यहाँ पे मैप बेस्ड फिल्म्स हो सकता है. नाउ अगर आप ध्यान से देखोगे, ऑस्ट्रिया यहाँ पे है. ओके. ऑलवेज रिमेंबर दिस रिवर इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, दान्यूब रिवर. ओके. और कोई रिवर ज़रूरी नहीं है, बट दिस रिवर इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. ओके. सो रिवर का नाम हो गया, बिकॉज ये काफ़ी इंपॉर्टेंट और काफ़ी क्वेश्चंस में भी पूछा जाता है. नाउ कमिंग टू द बॉर्डर कंट्रीज. नाउ बॉर्डर कंट्रीज में इटली है, स्लोवेनिया है, क्रोएशिया नहीं है. इफ़ यू सी केयरफुली, क्रोएशिया नहीं है. हंगरी है. ओके. स्लोवाकिया है, चेक रिपब्लिक है, जर्मनी है, स्विट्जरलैंड. दिस मच. सो व्हाट यू नीड टू रिमेंबर हियर अगेन इन दिस पिक्चर ऑल्सो, पोलैंड नहीं है, क्रोएशिया नहीं है, बिकॉज इट इज़ अ वेरी landlocked country, so they'll try to use Poland, they'll try to use Croatia. Remember, Poland or Croatia nahi hai. If you just remember, these two countries are not border countries, and because it's a landlocked country, तो जाहिर सी बात है सी को टच नहीं करेगा. Now this is the Adriatic Sea, क्योंकि इटली को टच कर रहा है. ओके, स्लोवेनिया को टच कर रहा है. सो एड्रियाटिक सी को भी कौन कौन सा बॉर्डर कंट्रीज टच कर रहे हैं, यू कैन राइट इन द कमेंट बॉक्स. Check and write, check, write and make notes. This is how you have to study. You can't simply wait for last 1 month to do border countries or map based prelims questions, because around 3 to 4 questions may come only from map. Okay, fine. Now moving on to G20 Digital Innovation Alliance. अब recently, because G20 का अभी प्रेसिडेंसी इंडिया कर रहा है, सो एज ए पार्ट ऑफ इंडियाज G20 प्रेसिडेंसी, मीटी जो मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स एंड इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी है, दे हैव लॉन्च्ड एक कैंपेन, 2 कैंपेन वैसे, एक एलियंस है कैंपेन है. वन इज़ द स्टे सेफ ऑनलाइन कैंपेन, जो कि इट इज़ एन अवेयरनेस प्रोग्राम. बेसिकली इट इज़ एन अवेयरनेस प्रोग्राम टू स्टे सेफ इन ऑनलाइन, बिकॉज लॉट ऑफ सिक्योरिटी थ्रेट, साइबर सिक्योरिटी इशूज़ आजकल हो रहे हैं. अनदर एलियंस जो है, इट इज़ द G20 डिजिटल इनोवेशन एलियंस, G20 DIA. बेसिकली ये क्या करेगा, इट विल एनेबल द एडॉप्शन ऑफ इनोवेटिव एंड impactful digital technologies, impactful digital technologies developed by startups, from G20 nations, as well as the invited non-member nations. Remember, you can note it down. स्टार्टअप G20 नेशन से है, प्लस नॉन मेंबर नेशन जो कि इन्वाइटेड है वहाँ से, उनका एक एलियंस है जो कि इनोवेटिव और इम्पैक्टफुल डिजिटल टेक्नोलॉजी. कैन बी एनीथिंग, एग्रीटेक हो सकता है, इट कैन बी एग्रीटेक, इट कैन बी एडटेक, एनीथिंग. ओके, एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा. फाइन, तो उनका एक एलियंस है G20 डिजिटल इनोवेशन एलियंस. तो यहाँ पे तो क्वेश्चन इज इन प्रीलिम्स क्वेश्चन, दे में आस्क दिस एलियंस इज लिमिटेड टू ओनली G20. नो, इट इज़ नॉट लिमिटेड टू ओनली G20. G20 नेशंस आ सकते हैं, एज वेल एज नॉन मेंबर नेशंस भी आ सकते हैं. फाइन, ओके. नाउ कमिंग टू अनदर टॉपिक, बर्थ एनिवर्सरी ऑफ मन्नतु पद्मनाभा पिल्लाई. नाउ द हियर ये टॉपिक क्या है, कॉन्ट्रीब्यूट टू फ्रीडम स्ट्रगल और मॉडर्न हिस्ट्री का टॉपिक है. GS1 में आ सकता है या फिर प्रीलिम्स और मेंस में भी. यू कैन यूज एज ए एनरिचमेंट. एनरिचमेंट कहाँ पे, एनरिचमेंट इन द द्राविडियन मूवमेंट. इन द द्राविडियन मूवमेंट के एनरिचमेंट पॉइंट्स में आप लिख सकते हो, कुछ एक्स्ट्रा पॉइंट्स लिख सकते हो टू गेट दैट एक्स्ट्रा मार्क्स. नाउ मन्नतु पद्मनाभा पिल्लाई, it's his birth anniversary, 2nd January 1878. Now remembering the social reformer and freedom fighter on his birth anniversary. Now यहाँ पे 3 चीज़ आपको याद करना है फॉर प्रीलिम्स इन पर्टिकुलर, बिकॉज ही फाउंडेड द नायर सर्विस सोसाइटी. नायर कम्युनिटी इज़ वेरी फेमस इन ट्रावेंकोर. ये शुरू किए थे 1914 में. ओके, फॉर दैट पर्टिकुलर नायर कम्युनिटी he directly founded it. Now these two में he was associated, he did not found. I'll cover this here. वायकोम सत्याग्रह एंड गुरुवायूर सत्याग्रह, ये 2 चीज़ इंपॉर्टेंट है फ्रॉम मॉडर्न हिस्ट्री. नाउ वायकोम सत्याग्रह इज मेंशनड इन आवर नॉर्मल बुक्स ऑल्सो. इट इज मेंशनड इन स्पेक्ट्रम, NCERT, but गुरुवायूर सत्याग्रह इज नॉट मेंशनड इन स्पेक्ट्रम. इट इज मेंशनड इन अदर बुक्स. फॉर एग्जाम्पल सोनाली बंसल, सुमित सरकार, and VD Ganesh, and many other extra books. It is mentioned in, even it is mentioned in Shekhar Bandyopadhyay. Okay, now we need to know about Vaikom Satyagraha and Guruvayur Satyagraha. Now Vaikom Satyagraha you can check from Spectrum, you can check from internet, it is available. Now what I've covered here is the Nair Society. The Nair Society was formed under the leadership of Padmanabha Pillai in the Travancore state of Kerala, founded in 1914. It is a caste based organization At the time of the formation, K. Kelappan. Now you have to also cover K. Kelappan because he was quite associated with lot of temple entry movement, or he was quite a very important part of the Dravidian movement. Now, Dravidian movement is a very important part of South India in modern history. So K. Kelappan was the president and the Mannathu Padmanabhan was the secretary. So जब शुरू हुआ था के केलप्पन प्रेसिडेंट थे और पद्मनाभन थे सेक्रेटरी. Now he revived the एक कॉन्सेप्ट था, ही रिवाइव्ड द ओल्ड कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ विलेज सोसाइटीज़. तब विलेज सोसाइटीज़ का जो कॉन्सेप्ट था वो कहीं ना कहीं कुछ टाइम के लिए बंद हो गया था. ऐसा नहीं है कि बंद हो गया था, इट वाज नॉट दैट मच इनटू दैट मच इम्पोर्टेंट मे बी. सो ही रिवाइव्ड दैट, जिसको हम बोलते हैं कारा योगम्स. सो यू हैव टू रिमेंबर दिस वर्ड कारा योगम्स. It is Padmanabha Pillai who brought this concept. Now, for some time, the Nair Service Society also maintained links with the Justice Party of Madras. Now, Justice Party is also a important part. Now Justice Party started in 1916. Now, some people were associated with Justice Party. For example, it was founded by C. Natesha Mudliar. You have to remember these are very important. You can't afford to miss these kind of questions because these are very easy questions. If you are not able to attend these questions, means you are very far ahead from prelims, because these are mentioned in normal all books. T.M. Nair. Also another person is there. He's called as P. Thiagaraya Chetty. Okay. So this was about the Nair Society. Now coming to the Guruvayur Temple Entry Satyagraha. It was led by again K. Kelappan in 1931. Now what it did, it's a Satyagraha, means it's a temple entry movement also. Now it demanded the entry of untouchables inside the Guruvayur temple in Kerala. तब अनटचेबल्स को एंट्री नहीं मिलती थी गुरुवार टेम्पल इन केरला में, तो ही लेड दिस मूवमेंट. नाउ इट वाज अ 12-day लॉन्ग हंगर स्ट्राइक बाई के केलापन. अब 12 दिन के बाद केलापन ब्रोक हिज फास्ट. नाउ हियर कम्स द रोल ऑफ गांधी ऑन द एडवाइस ऑफ महात्मा गांधी. Here in this temple satyagraha, Mannathu Padmanabha Pillai also participated. Okay. Now similarly, Pillai also participated in Vaikam Satyagraha. Now Vaikam Satyagraha started in 1924. Now here also K. Kelappan was also a part. For example, you have to cover it, but I'll give you some information. K. Kelappan was also associated. There are a lot of members. T.K. Madhavan, it was also in news, very recent. T.K. Madhavan, Mahadevan, T.K. Mahadevan or Madhavan, जो भी है, you can check it. Some other people like Velayudha Menon, they also, Velayudha Menon, they all participated. Okay. Now this was Vaikam Satyagraha was also in Kerala. It was also in Kerala. It was a kind of a like the low caste temples, the low caste Brahmins, Hindus were also not allowed. So it was also kind of anti-Brahmin. Okay. Vaikam Satyagraha. Now the thing is, like, it got a lot of support from mostly everyone, like the Muslim leaders, the Christian leaders also supported it. Even to some extent Gandhiji also supported it. But he was not very happy with this particular, and like the tone of Vaikam Satyagraha was very anti-Brahmin, so he was not, but in a way he supported it. Fine. So Vaikam Satyagraha also you can cover. So this is a basic information. You can cover the rest information from book. Just remember these names, 2 to 3 more names also you can remember, associated members, because questions are coming. Which of the following personalities are associated with Vaikam Satyagraha? So here Gandhiji was also associated because he supported. Even another very important name is E.V. Ramaswamy Naikar. Okay, he also like he traveled from Tamil Nadu to Kerala to support this movement. They are all very famous personalities. T.K. Madhavan, K. Kelappan, Velayudha Menon, Gandhi, E.V. Ramaswamy, they all were a part of Vaikam Satyagraha. So that's it for today's and we'll meet next day for current affairs in this particular manner. Thank you.